which starts us out here with the Arizona Cardinals. And you are coming out swinging on this one. You said the biggest make or break player for the Arizona Cardinals, a team that's ascending here, a team that I think a lot of people have some faith in, maybe even making some playoff noise this season. But you have their quarterback, Kyler Murray, as the biggest make or break player here. Now, he's under contract for another, man, how many years does he have left on his contract here? I just looked this up. He's got 4 years left on his deal, although the last 2 years are pretty flexible. This is somebody who I think a lot of people think has the talent to be a franchise quarterback, but you have him on the make or break list here. So break it down for me here. Why Kyler Murray for the Arizona Cardinals to kick things off?
Yeah, so there's 4 years left on the contract, but realistically, when you're talking about guaranteed money, it's really 2, and even next year, if they wanted to eat the 2026 part of the money and find a way to trade him or some other way to get rid of him, they could do that. Look, Kyler Murray's a weird one because last year had an 82.2 PFF grade, which is really good, but you and I talked about all season the inconsistencies that come with him, right? When he's hot, he looks like one of the 3 to 5 best quarterbacks in football, and when he's cold, the whole offense just seems to stop, especially the passing game, right? We know they have a dynamic running game with him and James Conner and Trey Benson, everything they have going on there. The defense is getting better. They worked on it a lot this offseason. Jonathan Gannon's trying to build that. To me, actually leading off here, I think Kyler Murray's the biggest make or break player in the entire league because you could see a scenario where the Cardinals get into the postseason, right? You can see an improved defense, a dynamic running game, Marvin Harrison Jr. breaking out in year 2. Trey McBride's one of the best tight ends in football, but it's all about Kyler Murray. Last year, Trevor, Kyler Murray had at least a 70 passing grade in 6 games, and the Cardinals won 5 out of those 6 games. The other 11 games when he didn't hit that, they went 3-8. So him balancing out the passing game with his arm, and we've seen it in the past. There was a year, that year where he looked like an MVP candidate, where he led the league in big-time throw rate. He can make big plays down the field vertically, but it's just the consistency. It's week to week. Which Kyler Murray are you getting, right? It's not necessarily the same guy you're getting, especially in the passing game every week. So I think when it comes to make or break, I think both for the team and for himself deciding, okay, is this really a franchise quarterback that we want for those 4 years that you just mentioned and beyond that into his 30s? Is this a guy that can take us into championship contention? I think you find out a lot of that this year with this team continuing to improve, with Jonathan Gannon continuing to build the defense. And then, again, a Marvin Harrison breakout would help a lot. You've got Trey McBride, an elite tight end. You've got an elite running game. Everything else is in place for Kyler Murray to succeed. He just really needs to do it on a week-to-week basis because we haven't seen that consistency every single week in a long time.
Yeah, no, I agree with you here. And it's not just getting to those last 2 years of that contract. After this year, moving him gets pretty flexible. Like, yeah, he's around $50 million. I can't remember if it's like 53, high 40, something like that. Like, he's right around $50 million on the cap for really the rest of these 4 years. I think the last 2 are somewhere with around the 45 range. But you're paying a good chunk of change for a quarterback here. It's not like it's a bargain bin, although maybe depending on how much the salary cap goes up in the next couple of quarterback contracts, maybe it feels like that. But all that to say, he gets movable. He gets very flexible and movable after this season. And so that's really how you have to look at this situation is you look at what the Cardinals have been building over the last couple of off seasons. They're really ready to hit the gas pedal here. They are a team that, 8 games into the season, halfway through the regular season last year, they were first in their division. They were right there. They had good momentum. And so it's not like this team is really far away. And they're getting to the point where they've got a lot of really nice rookie contracts that they can build off of moving forward. Darius Robinson, Marvin Harrison Jr., Michael Wilson, Trey Benson, guys from this year. Like you're looking at Walter Nolan. You're looking at Will Johnson. You look at guys like Max Melton, Garrett Williams, right? Like there's just a ton of players who are young and they're ready to sort of usher in that next wave of Arizona Cardinal players. Do they want Kyler Murray to be that quarterback? Because I think for this year, he's really got to show more consistency, or at least you start to open the door, like a situation where, look at last year, right? This is a perfect example. The Rams say to Matthew Stafford, yeah, you can go find a deal somewhere else and we'll see if we can match it. Like on the surface level, them trading Matthew Stafford is crazy, but it happens because that's the business end of how the NFL goes. And so as crazy as it might seem to be, like the Cardinals would never give up on Kyler Murray. What are you guys talking about? I think that I think that it is a pretty big make or break year because they are going in the right direction with their roster in basically every other way. Do they believe that Kyler Murray is going to be the guy to lead them into the promised land and into multiple playoff seasons moving forward? I think this year will tell us a lot about that. I think that this is sort of unfair. I wouldn't choose this player over Kyler Murray, but Darius Robinson, not a make or break in terms of like, oh, if he doesn't show up next year, it's over for him because he's only going into his second year in the league, but 53.4 run defense grade last year, 48.4 pass rush grade. He's got some help this year. I'd like to see Darius Robinson specifically as a run defender. Let's get something at least above 70.0. Would love to see something above 75. Would obviously love to see something in the 80s from him as a run defender this upcoming season. So not a make or break, but you would like to see something like that out of your first round pick.